Hello and welcome to Doing Business with Love. This is a speaker series that are really focusing on entrepreneurs that are embodying doing business with love. And thank you for joining me today. Today, I am really pleased to bring you Karen Wasylyshen. I probably butchered her name.
Oh, pretty good.
I heard her a couple of times.
No, it's good.
She is an intuitive entrepreneur, and she is a distributor with Young Living essential oils. And she is really unique to this group of people because she does do the multi-level marketing or the network marketing, whatever you call it. But she does it in a way that is full of love, that isn't sleazy and gross. And we're going to dive deep into that. So thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh my goodness. I'm like, this is a really big thing because we've all been on the other end of someone trying to push some sort of business down our throats. So,
absolutely.
Yes. So I'm really excited to talk to you about this because there is another way of doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't have to be that sleazy, gross, email everybody in your friends list way. It just doesn't have to be that way. They always say when you join, they usually say, make a list of 100 people and contact those 100 people. I have made the list, but I have never gone farther than that. I never contacted any of them.
Okay, well, that's good. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, well, Karen, I always ask everybody right at the beginning, just to get everybody warmed up with their questions, is how do you infuse love into your business?
Well, I really put the client or the customer or whoever is joining the company at their needs first. It isn't about me. It's their journey. I have a tool that I use that changed my life, impacted my life. And so I'm excited about it, but it's always about how can that help you and what's good for you. And if it's not the business side of it, if it's just the product side of it, I'm fine with that. Like, I really only want what's best for you in all of it, whether it's the use of the product or the business. And that, I think, is when you put the client, customer, whatever you want to call it, member, their needs ahead of yours, that's really where the magic happens. And that it is really a service-based, what can I do for you, not what can you do for me.
Right. That's a huge point. What can I do for you? In fact, everybody in every business, and even if you're just living life, to go out there and ask, what can I do for you, instead of being a taker, is massive. It can literally change your life.
Yes, absolutely. And even just how I came to do the business was not like, how much money can I make? Money was such a small factor in my starting the business. It was really about, I felt like almost like a moral obligation to share what had happened in my story, because it was so profound. And I knew that if it changed my life, it could change other people's lives.
Well, that's exactly my next question. How and why did you start your business?
So I was a really late comer to even starting the business. I actually was a member of Young Living for almost 2 years before I even started doing the business. And so when I first started using oils, it was for fun more than anything. And to flavor my water. Like, I really honestly had no information about them. I was at a gym. I didn't like water. Somebody put some in my water.
You don't like water?
No, I struggle with so, and I know it's good for me. I know I need to reframe that, but so, that's literally how I got started. Somebody put some in my water. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. So I'll try it. And I got the kit, and then I liked them. I thought they were interesting. And so I ordered quite a bit, and I ordered frequently, and I had quite a few oils, and I really just kind of thought they were pretty and like, look at all these pretty little bottles of oil. And I didn't really understand any science behind it. I had no education on it. And then I kind of just fell away. I didn't order much anymore. And then this profound experience with my son, my son was giving me a lot of trouble, my youngest son. I had him when I was 41. And by the age of 3, he started to display some really aggressive behaviors. He was, we were fighting from morning till night. It was stressful. He wasn't sleeping through the night. He had a lot of night terrors. And so I took him. He was diagnosed with Asperger's. And it was just this constant battle of fighting between us. Like, you don't fight with somebody every day, morning till night, no matter how old they are, without breaking that relationship. It suffered. Our relationship was broken. And I really I had a lot of shame around how I felt about him. I honestly liked him when he was asleep. I mean, it was the only time I would watch him and think, how could this beautiful baby child be such a little monster if he's awake? And
I'm giggling, but it's true. Like, my heart goes out to you because you gave birth to this.
Yes, and
right?
and I wanted to love him, and so a lot of people don't want to talk about that part of you that really, I didn't like him. I had so much shame about how I felt about him because I didn't like him, and I know it's hard a lot of times for moms to hear that, but it's the truth, and I'm really about speaking my truth, and he knew that. Ultimately, that connection was so broken. I mean, he knew it. And I remember there were times him looking at me and say, when, he'd gone too far and he knew it, but, shaking, I'm just a little boy. But I was so angry. And I had so much anger because it was like, this isn't how it's supposed to go. No. This isn't what it's supposed to look like. Yeah. So out of desperation, really, like I changed his diet, but that relationship was just broken to, and I was like, I don't know how we can go forward if we continue this. And so when I reached out to somebody and said, is there an oil that can help with this?
Yeah.
And I honestly was like, that was a Hail Mary. I
was just going to say, you were just praying to God, Hail Mary, can you please try? Like, I'm willing to try anything.
And honestly, that's what it was. Now, when I started, so I used a series of oils on him morning and night, and I committed to do that. I was like, okay, you're going to do this. You can't expect results if you use it once. And I did a series of oils based on certain outcomes like that I wanted. Now, I wouldn't say I was very, very skeptical about it working, but I had all the intention that, I feel like that's really important. When I talk to people about using oils for emotional purposes, you cannot rub forgiveness on your chest and over your heart when you hate someone. Like when they'd be like, I hate so-and-so, but this doesn't work. They have a vibrational frequency of their own, but you need to have that intention. And even when it's hard, like, you don't have to be in a place of forgiveness, but you need to at least desire that forgiveness and that change.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
So with that desire of helping, honestly, I didn't even know what it was that he would become more emotionally balanced. But what really happened was emotional healing.
Nice.
And it happened very, very fast within 10 days. The emotional healing were starting to come in, and we could both feel it, and I could see joy coming back into his face and his space. And because I was applying them to him, it was having an effect in my emotional center.
The connection back, and the nurturing and the love coming back. Wow.
Yes. It opened up flow. And one of the ways I describe it, because I didn't know how to articulate it at the time, was that it allowed the joy to shine through his Asperger's, which there had not been a lot of joy up until that time.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? What is the Asperger's?
was the spectrum. He's on the spectrum. Although I believe today he's 12. If I were to take him to be tested, he would not test. He's made such massive progress.
Is that on the spectrum? Does that mean along the lines of ADHD and all of that stuff and autism? Oh,
so he was super high functioning, and like his school had no indication of it, and actually really struggled with the report. But I knew him well enough to understand where some of it happened. He really held on to his emotion, and all the things that happened at school, he held on to, and he brought it home. I always say he lets his freak flag fly at home, not at school. So, and,
sorry.
And some people have gotten angry with me about how I talk about it, but when you're, because I don't think that they're freaks, and I don't.
No, and you know what? I think people get a little too uptight about things, and you know what? I'm freak too. Like I talk to dead people. I do cards. I do everything through my intuition. So is that a freak or is that actually normal? Well, it's not actually considered normal. So whatever. And you just got to be your own unicorn, and whatever that is, and however you deal with it, and whatever you do in your own family environment, I think is like perfect if it works for you.
Well, and ultimately, Emmett will, because of his biology, he will have a certain pattern in his life. Some of it will benefit him, but a lot of what we were experiencing was not fun, and it wasn't beneficial to anybody, and so in that vein, yes, I did everything in my power to heal my child. And I feel like, there's more than one piece to it, but that's really, that was so profound to me. And when a mama's heart, and I had no idea how scientifically that could be or work. I do understand that much more now, 5 years later, or 6 years later. It's probably about, I'd had the oils for about maybe close to a year, and then I used them on him, and I still didn't do the business. I didn't do the business for 2 years. I was a member for two years before I started doing the business. And that really just shifted from that experience. And then I started to think, well, I could probably let some of my other family members use these oils. And they can find some
style.
Like their benefits. So,
I think my whole family needs them. Can you send a bunch over my way?
So I thought I started,
that's hilarious.
using them in, I like to do my business with love and humor. Floats my boat. But I really just, I felt like I had to share morally. I felt that I could impact other people's lives, and I didn't want to justify how much I was spending. I just wanted to be, I was like, well, I'm not giving that up. So, and I wasn't working. I wasn't able to, and I never really had a career prior. Like I had just, menial, some administration jobs was what I was doing before I got pregnant with Emmett. And I hated it. I always hated it. I felt so undervalued.
I know.
Yeah, it was just, I didn't like anything about it. I didn't like the hours. I didn't like the lack of pay, the lack of respect.
I actually have a business administration degree, diploma, whatever the hell it is. The worst 12 grand I've ever spent in my life. Like, I'm going to tell you, like, I spent 12 grand to get a certificate. And if I just want to put this in here, because if you're thinking about going to school, do not do that. Look at what you get paid. Look at what the job is afterwards. Like on paper, it looked really good. But then I was like, I finished my training and I realized that all I can do is be an administrative assistant or an executive assistant. And the jobs were just shit. And it was like $15 an hour. And it was like stupid. And I would have to deal with all kinds of bullshit. I was like, are you kidding me? I never did get one job I think I got like one day job and I left or something like that. Like I seriously went to all of that school, like for my night job as a bartender. And I would have been way better off to just spend 10, 12 grand with a coach to do something entrepreneurial. I'm going to tell you.
Well, and it's funny you say that. I was in my younger years, I was a bartender and a waitress, and that's how I made and I always begrudged myself that, I never fully enjoyed the experience because there were some things I really liked about it. I liked the hours because I wasn't a morning person, and I made really good money, and I never celebrated that. I never saw it as a success. I saw it as a less than job, and I made really good money.
Interesting. So, I always really, honestly, I always was proud of myself because I was a damn good waitress and an even better bartender. I'll be honest, because
and I was those things too. I was so good at what I did. I mean, very, very good at what I did. And
you have to be a multitasker. You have to be good with people. You have to be like on the ball. You got to like watch everything, and and it's like, and it can be fun. You can be listening to music, bopping along.
I know. And it's one thing I regret the most about that time of my life, that I didn't fully love on it in the way I should have, because it provided me a lot of really good income, flexible hours. I did enjoy a lot of it, but I came from a very religious background, so there was a lot of shame around it. And I was always told, like, to be successful, you needed to go to college. Like, that's kind of how it went in my world. And so when I wanted this, like administrative job, and then when I got it, I was like, there's no freedom in it. There's no value in it. Like I was always very good at it, and, ended up running the offices, and, ended up having to, I felt like almost be, I used to say, I'm smarter than the boss.
And you probably were. Like you
just drove me crazy that I, was stuck in these positions.
You know what? The thing is, with the boss, quote unquote, the boss stays in their zone of genius and they hire people out. They're smart enough to hire people out.
Yeah.
That's where the boss, that are not afraid to spend the money to hire people to do that. But we're off topic. Let's get back onto it.
The thought of going back to work really was not, I knew that much. I was never going back to that life. Yeah. I said, I will never work again for someone who doesn't appreciate me. I will never work for less than I'm worth. And I currently, with this, my paper skill, my job, like my resume, I would have ended up there. So I was looking at going back to school, but with Emmett's challenges, that wasn't feasible. And he was really struggling to sleep at night. Like, we went through a long period of time where he did not sleep. And I'm not talking months, I'm talking years. So, I just felt like a regular job was not in the cards for me. And I trusted his care to no one. That was another thing. I didn't want anybody to take care of him but myself. Yeah. So what I started looking at, well, okay, you love this product. You can do this as a business, and just, give it a shot. And there were a couple of things that I did when I decided. So it all really came down to a decision. I decided I was going to do it as a job. And then I decided that I was never going to quit. That no matter what.
That's really, really, really key. I have a little phrase that I call decide and do. I should add on and never quit.
Yeah.
I think that's my new phrase. And never quit. Decide.
Yeah, I just was never, I've had to tweak and retweak, but anytime I think like, I'm not where I want to be, or anytime that has ever entered my head, because, network marketing often gets sold as an easy ride. And it's anything but
I don't think it's an easy ride. I honestly don't think it's an easy ride.
But they a lot, and this is old school type of network marketing. Sign two people who sign two people who sign two people, and voila, you are rich.
Like, bah, bah, bah. You're like the golden child of your.
It doesn't work like that. It's sign two people. Find two people, or you just have to find 6 people. In our organization, you need 6. Technically, you need 6 people to decide alongside of you. Well, you actually will probably need at least 36 people to decide alongside of you, because people do quit. People do give up. People do get discouraged. So for me, I had what I would like to call a little meeting with myself in front of the mirror. And I just said, you're deciding to do this. You're going to do it. And no matter what, you're going to see it through. You're not quitting. And every time I have that little piece or voice in me that says, you're not cut out for this, you're not, this isn't your bag, I'm like, nope, you made a commitment to yourself. And I actually counsel all my new team members to have that conversation, because at some point there's going to be a time where you're going to want to pack her in. And there will be. It's tough. Another myth I think that gets said a lot in network marketing is that you get to choose who you work with. I work with people I never met before. I didn't choose them. It doesn't work that way. You have to work with whoever is in your organization and I think you can set boundaries, and you can work decide how that looks within your organization. But you will often work with people that sometimes they're difficult people, and most often they're beautiful people. I've met so many beautiful women, and I work, primarily we work with women, although my direct upline is a man, and he's a young man, and very, very, very successful. And he did really inspire me, because I was kind of like, that kid can do it. I can. But ultimately, it's like having the why. Why do I do what I do? Like I had a good, solid why that wasn't based on I want to be a billionaire.
No.
And because we all know that ultimately money it's a beautiful tool, and it's a wonderful gift, and it's a great thing to have, and I like it, and I make no apologies about making it. But ultimately, it can't be your source of why.
No, it cannot, because you'll never get there if that's the case.
Yeah. It needs to be so much more.
It does. So like one of the things I always write, I write out my personal promises to myself every day. And one of them is, for me, is I will do what it takes to generate 10,000 or more per month while inspiring others to be themselves and live their best life. I write that out for myself every day. It's not to do with me. It's not the money per se. That allows a nice cushion for you,
Yeah.
And you can buy nice things, and you can go on vacation, you can do that, and that allows a lifestyle. But it's really about inspiring others. It's really about helping them get out of their shells and doing whatever it is for them. And I do believe that network marketing or young living or essential oils are that path for some people.
Yes. And I'm passionate about this industry. It started in one place, like this love for this product. And then it morphed into a love for this business. And this business, no matter what network marketing company, I qualify that with, it needs to be a good quality product. I could never sell something that I felt was not a good quality product, or that wasn't what it said it was. And I have actually heard leaders in network marketing companies say, who cares what the product is?
What?
Yeah. What? I know. And I'm like, well, what? I care, because my integrity matters to me.
That is crazy. See, but that's what's going on with these network marketing things. And people, like, the last time, I thought of this earlier today before we were doing, the last time I ever went on a in-person coffee date. I met this woman at a networking event in person in Vancouver, and she was doing some whatever. And I went over to her place because she was only actually not that far away, only 10 blocks away or something. So I thought, okay, I had already stopped doing like in-person coffee meetings, and I was all like hesitant to go, but this one just sealed the deal for me. I was just like, I'm never going again. Because she was all like, let's just have a coffee at my place and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. So I got there, I parked, I did everything, I went up. And I was like, okay, well, our time is up because I scheduled in for a half an hour and I went to leave. And she was all like, oh, no, let me just try out some of these products on you. Why don't you sit down? Why don't you like lie down on this? Like she had a blow up mattress and stuff, and lie down and try this. And I was all like, are you kidding me? This is the weirdest thing ever. Like, and I actually emailed her back after and said, look, you didn't tell me you were going to pitch me with stuff. I wasn't there for that purpose. I went to meet you. I went to meet and create a relationship with you. And what you did was you just ended it immediately. And not only that, but I'm never going on an in-person coffee date with anybody again. So if you ever want to talk to me, you go through Zoom first, just FYI. It's way better. Nobody's got to drive anywhere. There's no parking. There's no time before and after. And if the person doesn't show up late, at least you're at home or in your office. Yeah.
And I mean, I love Zoom too. And it's those things though. And I'm on a mission to change that perspective, because it doesn't need to be that way. And I mean, I will even now, because with network marketing, there is no other model in the world right now that a woman can start at any phase of her life and become a multimillionaire with such a low entry cost.
Right.
You know, it's super low risk.
Not only that, the training available.
Yeah. I mean, so much personal growth. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
And being around people that want to do it as well. So I call it a success circle. If you surround yourself with the people that are a success circle within your company, within your field that are doing the best, and those people always want to share what they're doing to the others so that everyone can benefit, right? Because if you believe in the product and you want to do it, and you have a really big why, like, I mean, your son got better.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, that's why it's more for me, how, that part of it, that piece of it, what really is my driving why is that I have like one of those kinds of, my backstory, my life prior is an overcoming story. I've overcome quite a lot in my life. But at 48, I still wanted a career, and I just didn't know how that was good. I honestly thought that ship had sailed for me. And that was a piece of me that was going to be literally unfulfilled. That's how it felt to me, because I always knew that I was destined for, I just felt it in, and I've always had a strong knowing of things. That's how my intuitiveness shows up is just in a sense in knowing and understanding. And so I was always kind of looking, but I had tried network marketing and it felt like I had sucked at it actually. And I actually had told my upline when he told me he was going full time to do the business, I was like, never, ever, never, ever, never. I'm good. Peace out. Have fun. I suck at it. I'm not good at it. But what I've learned along the way is that love of a product is key. That is super important. The product does matter. You have to be able to sleep at night. You have to be able to go to bed at night knowing that what you say is authentic and true. Right. And if you don't have that, it's pretty hard to no, it doesn't, like, ultimately that's those people that are saying it doesn't matter what the product is, you know, get the two people. And that's the masculine piece. That's the way that it has been performed and done for years and years. But now with social media and direct selling, network marketing has become a lot more palatable. People,
Mm-hmm.
it's so much more common. Everybody's not running away. Typically, network marketing companies, they throw a lot of money into DNR because it's people's word of mouth that is their advertising budget, right? That's what they do. Instead of advertising, they pay their people. And people won't do that if it's a crappy product. So often there's a great product behind it. But so for me to be, I'm 53 now. I was 48 when I started the business. There is very little, and I can't think of any business that I could have started at that age and had the success. And even going back to school, I would have just recently graduated.
Exactly.
What would I have had? A degree in what? I mean, and I started making bank right away. Like right away, I started making money. And I mean, it quickly, like some months I would double my income. I mean, where in that just doesn't happen out there. So, and who hires somebody at 53? Like, so
I don't know, but this is really, really inspiring because you're never too old.
No, and that now is my why. My big why is not too old, but not just age, but mistakes. So often our lives are full of missteps and things that we wish we would have done better or could have done different. And my life is riddled with them. And so I feel like that's my love's mission. That no matter where you're at, the choices you've made, they don't define you. It isn't all you are, because you really are divinely created to step into your superpower. And it's all there within you. And that's really my message, is that you have what you need. You might have to learn some different skill along the way.
It's all learnable.
That's all learnable.
And it's all doable. All of that stuff or hireable, outable.
Yeah. I'm all about that hire outable.
You can just hire somebody to build you a website. You don't need to do it yourself.
Exactly.
There are things that you don't have to do if it isn't your zone of genius. So that's awesome. So I want to just talk to you quickly about because we're going like really deep into things with you. You're so interesting. So here we go. I find you very interesting. I was following your intuition, and your business helped you.
Well, I think the more open you are to listening to your gut, like and I do talk about this and with my team, when things don't feel good, and that doesn't mean, I'm not saying don't step out of your comfort zone, because like hit play, hit go live, hit that go live. Don't worry about your chin or your hair or if you're going to be perfect. Those things, yes, you need to step out of your comfort zone. But when something doesn't feel right in your gut, if it actually makes you want to throw up, to reach out to strangers via email or on the phone to pitch them, that's a good indicator that probably is not in alignment with who you are and what you should be doing.
Right.
And I don't care how many people write a book about it or tell you that it is how you do it. It's bullshit.
That's okay. We got lots of swear words in this series. Don't worry.
It's just not true. I think if something makes you you listen to that and become the more aligned you become with what you're doing, I said today, alignment is the new hustle. Like, you don't have to be gross and creepy to be hustling. Let's get aligned with things. And that doesn't mean don't do anything that isn't out of your comfort zone. That means don't do something that makes you, which you in your core know to be not in alignment with who you are. If it's in alignment with you, I actually do have a friend who loves to do cold calls. I think she's the weirdest person on the planet. But she loves them. So that energy comes through.
Yeah.
Makes them so they're authentic and good.
Actually, I like doing sales calls. I love them. I call them sacred sales conversations. It's not, and for me, it's simply informing, educating, and seeing where they're at. It's not about pushing and doing whatever and sneaky whatever, right? It's an actual education. It's like informing them. It's what it is. This is what it is, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I love those calls. I would happily do sales calls for other people. Like, actually, I'm thinking about doing it, to be honest.
And honestly, yeah, when it feels good for you, then it is good for you, and it's good for your business then. So
Yes.
I really believe, trusting in that gut and really believing that in yourself, like knowing that you do have those answers, and, and working through the crap that comes on top of that.
Yeah, that's the ego talking, trying to keep you small. And I always say, ego, go away, go find me 3 ways to find me money. That's what I say.
Yeah,
Instead of worrying about this, why don't you show me 3 ways to find me money?
And the more you become aligned with your intuition and see it as for what it is and recognize it, right? I think that was my big thing. I just thought, oh, that's part of my personality. I didn't see it as the gift that it is. So I believe the sooner that you can recognize your intuition gifts and your knowing gifts, and however that comes to you, whether it's seeing, hearing, feeling, however, whichever Claire but to own it as a gift, that it's a God-given divine gift given to you, and to use it. And because that's what it's there for. It's to help you become abundant in all areas. And
all areas, healthy, and wealthy, and wise, and stable, and happy, and joyful, a wealth of abundance in all areas. I'm totally all for that. So let's chat quickly about how essential oils really help you in your day-to-day life. And I know that you have a story about your son. Actually, I want to ask, does your son to this day use them on his own now because he's 12? So.
Yes, he has a kit, his own kit. Yeah, it is really cute. And he can school people pretty good too. He tells his auntie, well, "You're not supposed to use that for that."
So is he going to be a Young Living distributor himself?
He says he wants to do that and he wants to be a pilot too. So we'll see. We'll see. And
both. That's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, he'll definitely. I could see him out of all of the kids, really embracing it more so than anyone, because he's just been on the journey that much longer. The other kids were a little bit older. They use them, and they're just hoping mommy builds them a business.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because they're young adults. They're 19 and 22, and then we have a 30-year-old too, stepchild. But so yeah, I think it's really powerful to watch, because he can, I let him use his own intuition around them as well. Like, I do have a couple that I say are like non-negotiable, but then he's allowed to play around with them. But he's pretty regimented himself. It's in his nature to be a regime-driven person. Mm-hmm. So he kind of sticks to it, and he likes that. But he's probably been doing it on his own now for at least 2 years, 2 to 3 years.
Very cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool to watch. And I honestly love that there's going to be a whole generation of little oily kids that it's going to be super cool. and if he's really, really struggling with, like, he gets overwhelmed with video games and that kind of thing. And so I'll just say, grab an oil and go give him my phone. I have a meditation app on there, and he'll just go and meditate and come back out.
I think it's amazing how all of these awakened women these days are showing their sons and daughters both the essential oils, the meditation, the connection to spirit, the even some people with their cards and their kids and the crystals and everything. I'm just amazed these days. at how this is, and our future generation is going to be massively more conscious and more environmentally friendly, and looking for quality products and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful. Like, I love that it's just going to have this giant snowball effect in the world. And so we always like to say at Young Living in general, like they're really care about the earth. They're big stewards for the earth, and they put purpose and people before profit. And because that's their mission statement, and so it really fits into my belief systems. And essential oils basically work. They have a vibrational frequency. So if all emotions all have a vibrational frequency. And so when each oil has its own vibrational frequency. We have a lot of oils, so I don't always have like the numbers, but some really high ones are rose oil, frankincense, Idaho blue spruce is a really high frequency oil. But in wellness, so they're all encompassing. They're spiritual, they're emotional, and they tap into physical wellness as well. But really, when we're sick, what's happening to us is our vibration is low. So, that's the oils bring things back into balance. They help raise the vibration. And so it's not about curing the thing that's wrong. Like, I'm trying to say it in a way, because I got to be careful what I say, because I'm not a doctor, and because we have compliance rules. But if you are to have a cough, or that's not even a good one, just as like, I'm trying to think of a system, like a thyroid, hyper or hypo, like whether it's that you would use the same product, you would use the same oil. Because it's not about fixing it, it's about bringing the system into balance.
Yeah. I honestly haven't been sick in over 20 years. I'm 42. I think last time I got sick, I think I was maybe 16 or something.
Yeah.
I've not had a cold or anything for that long.
And I think people don't understand, like, that's what, why we talk.
I'm a Libra. I'm balanced. Right?
I'm a Libra too.
Ooh, look at us go. Yeah.
And I don't get sick very often either.
Canadian. Yeah.
Libra and Canadian. Perfection right there.
Holy, how can it get any better? Yeah. There we go. Okay, so we have gone through so very much here. I was wondering if you could give us maybe a couple of tips on incorporating essential oils into your life on a day-to-day basis. Like, I noticed that you mentioned that you put it in your water.
Yeah, just for flavoring. So they have a lot of citrus oils and it just makes it, and actually citrus oils are really high in limonene, which is, I can't say the word, but it's really good for you. You need to Google it. I got to be careful. I try to be as compliant as I can. We get a lot of trouble for making claims, right? But it has a lot of health benefits, limonene. It's very good, kind of like an antioxidant type of response in the body. So it just helps with making water taste a little bit better. One of the reasons we don't get sick a lot here, we use it preventatively as well. So Emmett, he's going into school every day and he puts thieves on his feet every single day, which has high properties in supporting the immune system. The story of thieves is the spice traders back in the day of the plague would bathe themselves in rosemary and eucalyptus and lemon and cinnamon, and they didn't they were actually robbing from people who were sick and dying, and they were not getting sick or dying. And because they would cover themselves in this solution made of these spices. So that's where the name came from.
Easy.
Yeah, so they replacement. like for a headache, you can use peppermint, and it works so much faster than taking a pill.
Right.
I
don't take pills, but I don't have a need for them either. So,
and it's really, a lot less toxic on your system. And there's always precautions to be used around them. They're very powerful, and they are the plant's defense mechanism, and we are cellularly structured like a plant. So that's why they work so well with the human body.
Well, one thing I got to say is your skin is so fantastic. Do you do something with essential oils for that?
I use Young Living's face wash, and then I actually dilute it. It comes like this, and it lasts me for over a year because I dilute it into 3. I put it in a foaming hand soap pump, and I add water, and then I add frankincense, lang lang, and a little bit of orange. And that's what I wash my face with. And then we have a skincare line, and in that I add frankincense, and I just actually, because we just got it back available, blue tansy, because sometimes blue tansy was out of stock for like 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Because it's a plant-based product, and it's that blue tansy is a really long cycle plant, 5 years. So they had a really bad crop in Morocco.
Cycle. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was off market, but I add that into my lotion, and that's basically my skincare regime. And we just came out with makeup
because you're a little bit older than me. I'm 42, but like when I can't believe I'm going to admit this on this right now, but I'm really concerned about my neck because I've lost like 60 pounds, and now all of a sudden I notice this neck is like going crazy. Like I want it to tighten up a little bit.
Yeah, I know. So
and your neck looks fabulous. Like I gotta say,
it might be the lighting, but because I feel like I have neck issues too, and it's one of these things. I tell a lot of women I feel like it's going to change, because I feel the sisterhood that's happening in the world right now, in places like what you're doing and Reinvention Queens, and there's another group, Creative Healing, I'm in. It's just incredible. These women are coming together and really supporting each other in all phases of life. And I think one of the phases we don't talk a lot about is menopause, and what happens, because that's a ride, man.
I'm not in it yet. I still curse every month.
Yeah, so and I was ready to embrace it, but it really knocked me for a loop. And one of the things that comes with that is waking up and going, what the hell happened to my neck?
Oh, no. Well, if that's happening already to me, then I better get busy on this stuff right now. But I actually, in my 20s, I watched a show. I was in my late 20s. I watched a show, and I believe it was Dr. Oz. I don't know, maybe Oprah or something, but they were talking about the best foods to eat for you to go through a menopause, like to eat consistently throughout your life. And it happens to be all the things I love anyways. So it's really crazy. They say to eat cabbage. I'm like really crazy about cabbage. I'm really weird. I eat like cabbage, red and green. Like you will never find my fridge without cabbage.
Oh, I love cabbage too.
I'm like a weirdo for cabbage, and like cauliflower and broccoli and all of those things. Like, that is like 85% of my diet. That's what it is, right? So
I would say frankincense is probably one of the top oils for skin.
I know a lot about the frankincense, and actually I really do like that scent as far as like, what are the things that I'm thinking of? I don't use them, but incense.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the flavor of it. But frankincense, I've heard, is so powerful in many, many different areas for it.
And it's really, it's got a really earthy smell. So what I like to do, because some people, when they first smell frankincense, they won't like it because it's really earthy. But if you pair it with something like a lang lang, and a geranium, which also really powerful smelling. They're floral, but they are like like, whoa, that's like a lot of floral. So if you pair it with something like a frankincense, then those two balance. And I mean, that's super fun.
Well, you can get so creative with all of this stuff, and you can make your own balances, and you can do exactly what you feel like. And from what I gather from you is it's a lot of it's actually quite creative.
Yes.
And you really just do what's good for you, which is really fun, right?
Yeah. Well, and like
sparingly. It seems like you use them pretty sparingly, like how you described using the products and doing everything. You use these products seem like they're so potent that you don't need to use like.
No, you don't. You
yourself in it. You just use a little tiny bit.
People get sticker shock sometimes. I think a bottle of frankincense, it's a 15 ml bottle, is pushing it's not quite 100. I think it's about $80, but by the taxes and shipping, it's going to end up being $100. But there's close to, they've estimated about 300 drops in a 15 ml bottle, and that it depends on the viscosity of the oil. Some oils are really thick and some oils are much thinner. So just for instance, I made this the other day for Shavasana. So I have some rose quartz in there as well. So I love to combine crystals and
fun,
because it's fun and it's pretty, and vibrationally there's such a good match. And I have some Palo Santo, sacred frankincense, sacred sandalwood, and valor in here, and I put it on for my Shavasana, and I've never used it before, and I started to cry. I just had this huge emotional release. My ears were full of tears. It was like I got waterlogged ears. But it was beautiful. It was so, I was able to just really release a lot of crap. And
that's amazing.
Yeah. So I love them. I have such a passion for them. And every time something like, I'm here 7 years later saying, holy crap, did that just happen? I'm always constantly surprised, even though I get the science, I understand, I know.
You're well versed, you got it, but you still get amazed by it.
I'm still amazed by it. And that's kind of like, it's like the gift that keeps giving, right? And that's an amazing, there's not a lot of things in life that I think that you can be continuously wondered by over and over and over and over again, especially
7 years later, right?
Yeah. And
that is amazing. Well, we're going to wrap this up, and I want to thank you for your time and all of your great insight. And wow, what an amazing conversation we had today. How can people find you? I go by my name on Facebook. I have a personal page, and I still have lots of room for lots of friends. And it's Karen M. Wasylyshen, and Wasylyshen. And I also have a business page, Karen Wasylyshen, and I'm on Instagram as Karen_Wasylyshen. And I have a group. Somebody have your name before?
Oddly enough, my brother married a girl named.
Oh, okay. It was your family. I was like, are you kidding me?
And actually, there are I think that I have some cousins. It's a Ukrainian name, that big families.
Yeah.
So, I actually had a lady at a grocery store once say, "Oh, do you know Karen Wasylyshen?" She was looking at my card, and I said, "Yeah, that's me." And she's like, "No, you're not. No, not you." And I'm like, "No, it is me. I'm pretty sure it's me."
I'm pretty sure I know myself. Yeah.
And then I have a group, private Facebook group. It's just women right now, and it probably always will be, because I want people to be vulnerable in there, and it's really baby brand new. It's called The Healer's Heart, because at my core, I think that that's kind of who I am. And I went from maybe healing myself, and now I would like to help others
And your son.
heal. Yeah.
And the rest of your family at the same time.
Yeah. So love to have you join me over there. And
I'm in.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm there. Yeah, I'd
Thank you
love to
so
learn
much.
more from you. And geez, I just had a riot with you today. Thank you so much. We went through so much good stuff here. So thank you. And to the viewers, I'll see you on the next video, and we'll see Karen around in the group and say
Absolutely.
your comments here. Please tell us what you get. There's massive aha moments, I'm sure, in this one. Yeah. So thanks a bunch.
Thank you so much.